There's something Counter-Strike can lose without technically stopping being Counter-Strike. The matches are still there, the ranking is still there, Premier is still there, the official modes are still there, and yet a lot of players still feel like something alive was pulled out of the game. For a huge part of the community, that something was always community servers. Not because this is just nostalgia for old-school gaming, and not because everyone suddenly only wants surf and jail again, but because that was the place where Counter-Strike stopped being just a queue and became an actual environment you lived in. I'm Dale, and in this video, we're breaking down why Counter-Strike loses part of its soul without community servers, what they really gave the game, why the game feels poorer without them, and why even players who barely used them still needed them to exist. Let's get into it. This is where we need to clear up the most shallow version of the argument. Community servers were not just fun side modes. Yes, they were fun, but their value was much bigger than entertainment. They gave Counter-Strike a second rhythm of life. You didn't always have to jump straight into a stressful match. You could warm up, practice movement, sharpen your aim, or just spend time in the game without the pressure of rank. That matters a lot, because not every time you launch Counter-Strike should feel like stress, pressure, or a fight for rating. Community servers made the game flexible. They let you live inside Counter-Strike in different states, when you wanted to compete, when you wanted to practice. That's why they mattered. Not as some side bonus, but as a layer that made Counter-Strike not only a hard competitive game, but also a place you could enter for different reasons. While Counter-Strike still feels like it's missing that extra layer outside the official modes, GGDROP at least gives you a way to get a little more from your top-up. Promo code FDTER gives you an extra 11% on your deposit and a free wheel spin. You add funds, get bonus value on top, and one more shot at a drop. But the most important thing about community servers wasn't even that. They made Counter-Strike feel like a living environment. Because in regular matchmaking, you queue, you play, you leave, and that's it. On a community server, you could start feeling a sense of place. That creates a completely different kind of life inside a game. Counter-Strike stopped feeling like a collection of matches. It became a space where you had repetition, familiar faces, and the feeling that you weren't just pressing a Q button, you were returning somewhere. That difference matters. Official modes give you structure. Community servers gave the game a sense of habitation. And that is where real game culture comes from. Not from patch notes, not from marketing, but from places where people spend enough time together to start feeling like that environment belongs to them. And this is another important point. Community servers mattered not because there was one legendary mode. Their real strength was variety. Hanging out, laughing, wasting time, getting pulled into weird situations. And that mattered too, because Counter-Strike never lived on tension alone. It also needed room to breathe. That's the point. One player joined a server to improve, another joined to relax, another came for the people, another just wanted to stay inside a familiar game without committing to a full match. So community servers did more than offer extra modes. They gave Counter-Strike range. Now we get to the real question. If community servers actually return in a proper way, what does that really change? At first glance, it sounds simple. Old modes come back, people get nostalgic, end of story. But the effect could be much bigger than that. Because what returns with community servers is not just extra content, it's a second layer of life inside the game. You suddenly have a reason to launch Counter-Strike that isn't only Premier, rating, or a serious match. You can enter the game just because you want to spend time inside a familiar environment. And that matters a lot, because not every evening you want a sweaty match. Not every launch of Counter-Strike should mean pressure, focus, and numbers. Sometimes people want to log into the game and stay there without that weight on them. That is exactly what community servers bring back. They bring softness back into the experience. They bring breathing room back. They bring back the feeling that Counter-Strike is not only a place where you get judged, but also a place where you can just exist. And if that return is done well, if it's accessible and alive, it could give the game something it's badly missing right now. Not just another mode, not just another menu option, but the feeling that Counter-Strike has a life beyond the official queue. So yeah, Counter-Strike won't die without community servers, but it does become smaller. Community servers were never just nostalgia. They gave Counter-Strike a life between matches. Without them, Counter-Strike can still stay a strong competitive game, but it stops being a place where people can simply stay inside the game without pressure. And that is not a small loss. That is a whole layer of why people stayed connected to Counter-Strike for so long. I'm Dale. For now, that's it. Wishing you nothing but absolute banger games.